your name?
I'm Joel Cavard. I'm an Auckland Regional Councillor, Chair of Transport there for Auckland Region.
Okay, cool. What's your opinion on people getting told and the net part of the money goes towards subsidising buses?
Well, that's pretty much how it would work in the ideal world, so that you could have a tolling system on roads, and if people are using the roads at the wrong time, like peak AM, then they get charged to use it, and that revenue is then collected and used to fund public transport. It's always been said as a sort of like an ideal. The problem with it is that the cost of the technology to collect the money, all the kind of the videos to read the number plates, the computers and all the rest of it, the cost of operating all that and paying for it is more than the revenue that you get from the toll charges in a place like Auckland. So the argument generally is, in a small place, that you do it to persuade people not to use the car, not to make money, to fund public transport. If you want to fund public transport and that's your objective, you have to look for a more efficient way of raising money from car users. But tolling is not efficient. Bloody expensive technology, expensive to operate and maintain, and at the end of the day there'll be a drop in the bucket for public transport.
How would you curb the private car culture? Eliminate it or whatever?
Well, one of the easy things that we do is make it hard to park a car, but not if you're going shopping. If you're going shopping, that's fine, and you take your car to go shopping, that's fine. But if you take your car and you're commuting, and you expect to be able to park it in Auckland for nothing, then what sort of message does that say? It says, well, drive. All you've got to do is kind of, put in some gas and drive. But if it costs you $15 or $20 or $25 a day to park your car if you're a commuter, you think, that's pretty expensive. I think I might take a bus or a train next time because it's going to be better for my pocket. So parking charges is one. Fuel taxes is another. And then in New Zealand, where a lot of the accidents are among young drivers, and no third-party insurance on cars means that everybody else subsidises those rat bags you run around in cars, bang them up, have accidents with others. So third-party insurance is another way. You've got to make the motorist pay the proper costs of driving the car, including insurance. So there are other things that you can do, way short of tolling, that have quite an effect on people's use of the car. Well, there's no petrol tax now. Well, there's no regional fuel tax, but the government already takes some money from when you buy your petrol, you're already paying a kind of customs and excise money that goes through the central government now, and they use it to build state highways and stuff.
Do you think that will get people out of cars if they put the petrol tax up?
Well, it's a kind of a swings and roundabouts thing, is that there's no point in forcing people out of cars if there aren't alternatives, okay? Because if people live at the edge of town and they rely on the car to get to work, and you say, well, I'm going to make your car very expensive to use, you have to walk or take a bike 15 kilometres, people are going to say, well, that's not very fair. But if you put in good public transport in some of these things, you've got an alternative, then people will not resent paying a fuel tax because they know they're actually getting something for it.
Okay, the other thing that does come to my mind, and that is, for instance, do you feel you and the councillors are scared of the public on, you say, we'll put a road toll down now, that's tough, you're part of the problem. Are you afraid of that? If people argue on what you feel?
Well, I mean, I don't support road tolls now in Auckland because the public transport is poor. And or any form of road pricing like congestion charging or any of those kinds of things, because there are not alternatives. And I've always felt that if you're going to do that, you've got to have, so like in London, 90%, the people who work in there, 90% of them come in by public transport, so that's a huge lot. Sydney, 70%, Stockholm, 40%, Auckland CBD it's under 30%. It's still 30%, but still the public transport is poor generally. So it's not fair to toll people to use the car to get into work if you haven't got public transport alternatives for them. But when there is decent public transport, which might be 10 or 15 years, it takes a while to build it up. You've got to spend the money. You can't just do it overnight. It takes time. I mean, the busway took about 4 or 5 years to build on the North Shore. That's an example. Some people think these things can happen overnight. They don't. But when they're in place, then people will have options, alternatives to the car, so that you could encourage them then. And right now, I've got to go home.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, we're here at the Auckland Museum today, and I've just bumped into one of you're the regional chairman of the regional council, aren't you, Mike?
That's it. You've got it in one.
Now, what's the latest happening to transport there?
Transport is getting better.
Yes, and just in regard to transport, what are you doing for us Hillman Hunter owners out there?
We've got a whole strategy on Hillman Hunters coming your way.
You know, that
It's only costing about $10 million to do the strategy, but I'm sure the Hillman Hunter owners are going to be very, very pleased. I'm not too sure about the rest of the ratepayers, though.
You know, I'm terribly excited about this because I don't know if you know this at all, but I'm actually a Hillman Hunter owner myself, and they're the best cars.
I've long suspected this.
Oh, well, I see, it's the glasses, isn't it?
Hence the strategy.
Oh, yes. Now, just with regards to strategies, do you have a strategy on the outbreak of mass venereal disease in the Viaduct Harbour? We were investigating this a week ago.
We haven't thought of that, but I'll put it on our list. What we do really need now, we've got so many strategies that we need a strategy.
Now, I think that's correct, yes. I mean, and then once you've got the strategy, I suppose you go for a strategy for the strategy.
Then you go for an action plan.
Okay. Hey, well, listen, Mike, it's been a real pleasure talking to you today, and listen, thanks very much for your comments, and I'm sure all the viewers out there will be thinking to themselves, well, as a result of him appearing on our TV show, we may have to vote for this Merchant Navy man again next year, isn't it right?
Thanks very much, John. Always a pleasure to work with you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. There you go. You see, there's a recommendation, and that's the chairman here, finishing today at Anzac Day.